You straight up cuckooed that dude, bro. Oh my God.
You've got all your Charger gear on because
I look good. I got big energy every day. Let's go!
And he is dead.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
That's right.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin
Herbert on the move and throws and touchdown.
Good ball, Herb.
Players, coaches, staff, fans, together we can create something truly special.
Stay tuned for some good content.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wooldog, sitting with my buddies, Kev, Hug, and Duggan.
Well, how the hell are you?
Well, hey there, friend.
Hi.
Idly hold there, neighbor.
Hey.
Let's not forget Kyle, the coach, Duggan.
What's up, guys? I don't know what just happened. That was not rehearsed, guys.
No,
No, it never is.
No.
It's never rehearsed.
I feel
Here at the
off his
Charger
vibes.
Chat.
His vibes, you know, they just.
Yeah. You got to bring the energy. This is the shamelessly positive. So you got to start it off always shamelessly positive.
Amen, brother.
No matter how dumb Kevin's intro is, Adam's just going to give him some positivity and feedback.
Positivity.
I feel like
We
I'm
need a
in
little
my safe
positivity.
space. I can
You
explore.
are.
I can
You are.
explore.
Good.
You can tell us anything you want here, Mr. Huggin, on the Charger Chat. So welcome, everybody, to episode 75. My goodness, I can't believe we've made it to 75. We're so close now to 100. I can see it on the horizon. So plenty to talk about here this episode. It feels like it's been quiet, but there's been rumblings around the league about different things going on, and it's certainly piqued our interest. So we'll share it with you and what we have to chat about today. As I mentioned, looking around the league, it was official that the NFL will be going to 17 games. We did find that out officially. That came out like the day that we released this episode.
Of course.
Chargers will officially be playing the Vikings for their 17th game, which I'll be honest with you. When I started seeing some tweets of like Vikings posted about like the Vikings
They
fans
took over
at that
our
old
stadium.
stadium,
They took over.
that was a bit.
You guys, we need to do. We need to come together with a pact here. Everyone that listens to this show, if you have the means and are able to go to that game, do it. We cannot let that happen to us again.
Please, because and then that, as in that Michael Jordan meme, I took that personally. So I need to, we need to make sure that we make a presence there at that 17th game. And we should be, because Roger Goodell says that he expects the NFL to have stadiums at full capacity with fans this upcoming season.
That's
So
big.
that is
big.
a good sign.
And the thing is, like, if you remember, like the NFL was kind of leading the way in terms of how we were going to navigate, sports when the pandemic hit. So if they kind of put everything in place to have sports essentially to a certain degree. So if they're saying this on the horizon, I feel very confident in that statement.
Yeah, and I think that like the idea that we have the 17th game, season ticket holders get it for free too.
Yeah, we just
You get
found that out.
Baby slapped on. Yeah,
We did that.
That's
We don't
true.
have to pay for it. It's built in. It was amazing news.
it's because they only have 3 preseason games, so we only get to go to 1 home preseason game, but we get an extra free regular, which I will take any day of the week.
Hey,
I want to see
that's better than a
starters
kick in
over.
the pants.
I want to see starters over the bench players for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It does. That's rough, man. Being Charger fan base, health is not on our side. Adding another regular season game, it does worry me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
But in adding an extra game, did they take away a preseason game?
Yeah, it went from 4 to
They
3.
did.
So it's the same amount
Yeah,
of
it's the
games.
same thing,
just
Kyle. Shut up.
No, it's
one
not.
counts more than. What do you mean it's not? If I have 2 apples and I take one away,
Adam, let me talk, Adam.
I'm just saying.
It's not the same because
Okay.
what preseason game does a starter play the whole game? And what preseason game do they go all out for an entire game the way they do in a regular season game?
This
The
is
vets
true.
do not.
This is true.
The vets are going
That's
there,
fine.
getting mental reps, getting back into it. They're not flying around making big plays, making big hits, like putting everything on the line like they do for 7. I'd be interested to see what this does to like being cautious with players. Like it doesn't go as far as the NBA, but the NBA straight up sits guys when they're just getting tired because of a long season. Now it's not going to go that far, but do you see more guys pop up on injury reports and coaches and being more cautious with little nagging things early on in the season? I think maybe you do. It does add a little extra element to how do you handle injuries?
Well, I think it just certain areas, like they might have seen some of this coming because look at what they're doing with our offensive line and these guys that can play multiple positions and a lot of flexibility. So, and even Staley has said in his defense, like you want guys that can move around and do a lot of things. So, hopefully the new thought process from coach is going to help with those deeper games and like the longer season. So, well, hopefully it's not that big of a deal.
We will find out as the
but you're
season
right. 2 apples, you take
around.
one away, you got 1 apple. I'm with you.
If I take an apple away, I replace it with an orange. I still have 2 pieces of fruit. So
this is true.
They're just slightly different. But looking also at Twitter, there was a tweet that came out today from Fernando Ramirez. Just like poking us with a little bit of hope. There was a talk to Oregon's left tackle, Penei Sewell, one that we've all kept our eyes on, says that he has spoken with the Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert about transitioning to the NFL and also, quote, little chatter on if we could play together. He had a little laugh.
Yeah, he basically, and then he went on further to ask him, a little more about it. And he was like, it'd be a dream come true to come protect Turbo.
You shut up, Penei Sewell. You just shut your
Dude,
don't you open that door.
Like I said, all we can take right now is hope. Hope is all we have, guys. That's all we have right now. There's nothing else we own. We own hope. So just hold on to it.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen on draft day. Crazy things can happen. Big trades can happen. We saw a trade just today on Darnold going to Carolina for the Panthers, and they gave up 3 picks. One this upcoming draft and 2 the next one. So it kind of changes the scope of the draft at least a little bit. We all now know that Jets are definitely going for a quarterback, but as far as what Carolina is going to go for,
not
a quarterback.
Nope,
that much is true. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, if we could get Penei Sewell, it would just be freaking sweet.
And if he fell to us too, like
you guys are crazy. You guys are fucking crazy right now. Like I'm shamelessly positive. You've gone over the top to batshit crazy. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's all right.
Hope is all we have.
Let us dream until we wake up from this nightmare.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But Chargers did pick up another guy. I think it also kind of came out either the day we released our last episode or just shortly after. But they picked up a Ryan Smith, cornerback / special teams from the Buccaneers, Super Bowl winning Buccaneers, I should say. And we only got him on a 1-year, $1.75 million deal.
I was looking into this a little bit, and he's their special teams guy. Like they put up a highlight of him just destroying Kansas City and Tyreek Hill. It was beautiful in every way possible. But what he said is like it was basically the same kind of money he was getting offered in Tampa Bay. But what he had mentioned is that by coming to us, he's going to have an opportunity to compete for a spot to play. Right. Smith ranked 2nd on the team in special team snaps during the 2020 Super Bowl run, tallying 4 tackles according to Pro Football Focus. He only took the field for 3 defensive snaps, though. So he was never on the field as on the defense. He was only playing special teams. So, gotcha. We're getting what we need in a really amazing special teams player with the hope that he could step up and do something for us in the secondary.
Yeah, and I think it's a win-win for him. He's on a 1-year deal. He gets to go to a defensive coach that is known for making great defensive backs. I mean, that's what Staley's done at every stop along the way. And when you get pegged to a certain role on a team, it's so much harder to get out of that role than going to a new team and having a new opportunity to impress coaches. It's just you get stuck. It even happens at the high school level where I'm coaching. Sometimes you've pegged a guy to be a certain thing, and it's hard. It's just hard to like, oh, now I'm going to go teach him something all new and try him out somewhere else. You almost like, that's a lot of work. This guy kills it on special teams. He's going to be a great special teamer. So I think it's for him, same amount of money. I think it's a great move, and I'm excited for him. I kind of see him as like an Adrian Phillips type, later on in his career, developing into that guy that can play a little bit on defense and spot and be a slot guy or potentially if injuries happen, which they always do. We now have a guy that is a vet in the league that's been around and seen it and at least has been a part of a Super Bowl caliber team.
Definitely.
Very true. Very true. So always good to have an extra tool in our back pocket, and Frank Smith is one of those tools that we have to possibly come up with something new. What was that?
Ryan Smith.
Ryan Smith. You said
Ryan
Frank.
Smith. That's right. Ryan Smith. Good old Ryan. We all know him. We all have his jersey.
Him and Kyler Frackle.
What do with Frank Smith? He'd be a coach player. That'd be sweet.
Oh,
that would be new. Let's see. Looking at some of the other things that came out, there was a great interview that came out. If you guys haven't listened to it, it's on the Chargers Podcast Network. Chris Hayward sat down with Brandon Staley and basically just like went through the roster of players and what the expectation is for them this season. And I'll be honest with you, like if you want to get hyped up, go listen to that episode, because it's just like you're hearing the names that we're all familiar with, and you're hearing names of guys that we didn't really get a chance to see play last season, and they're all coming back. So it's like, boy, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And now with a brand new coaching staff, you don't really know what to expect, but there's just that excitement. There's electricity just to hearing him talk about some of these players.
Yeah, I love hearing him talk. Like I could listen to him, read me an instruction manual on how to, put together a bunk bed. You know what I mean? Like something stupid. I'd love to hear.
Because he would make it really positive.
He'd find a way to spin it, and he'd like tell me that was a good question. Like it's the Staley way. Instill confidence.
You know what, Kevin, that's a great question. You're going to want to use a Phillips head on this one, because that is the type of screw that goes into this board here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about specific players, obviously it started off talking about Justin Herbert. Mentioned the definition of leadership is, do you make other people better? Do you make the people around you better? Do you elevate their performance? And can you connect with a lot of different types of people? That's another thing that I think is a defining characteristic of leadership. And I think the way that Justin goes about it is so exciting, because none of it is manufactured. He's so authentic. And I think that's what people appreciate about him so much. And I think that now that he's at the beginning and he's been able to compete at this level and produce at this level, I think it's only going to give him more confidence. Come on.
It's so funny because we're back in draft season, and we're hearing all these things about he's not a good leader. This guy's not going to be good. Like they're giving Fields a hard time because he's not motivated enough. And like you guys you're not looking at it correctly. Like what he said here, like he's just being himself. He's not going to go out of his way to be the rah-rah guy just because you want him to be. Like that's not his style. His leadership style is to knock out linebackers, score touchdowns, and throw insane balls. Like that's his leadership style. So, I love to hear how does it feel to have a coach talk about his players with like this kind of, appreciation and adulation, you know what I mean?
Big time. Yeah. And Herbert is the Teddy Roosevelt of the quarterbacks. Speak softly, carry a big stick.
Big stick.
You know what I'm saying? Easton stick. I'll say that. Carry an Easton stick. Yeah, it's great to hear. I mean, we all now are, the expectation now for Justin Herbert is through the roof. Like we expect no less than greatness, basically.
Yeah.
So
he had his no expectation year, and now he'll never get that.
You better
again.
walk on that water.
Exactly.
We're all expecting him to. So happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter, everybody. That's very true. Yeah. Let's see. Also talking about wide receiver Keenan Allen. I was just with one of the best guys in the league, cornerback Jalen Ramsey, and the respect that a guy like Keenan Allen has within the league is just remarkable. His production since he's come into the league, he gets better and better. He can run the route tree outside, inside. He can beat press. He's a clutch player, third down, red area. He's just a complete player, which obviously great to hear about Keenan Allen, especially a guy who's been around the league for as long as he has.
Yeah.
That there's no signs of him slowing down whatsoever.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice but to say that. That's your best player. You just paid that man a
we saw it last
money.
Season. Yeah. But I mean, he played great last season.
He did.
Like that.
Yeah.
So no reason not to say something like that. But the one thing that he did say about one of the players, Mike Williams, the ones that
this is what I want to hear. These are
exactly.
I don't want to hear about Keenan Allen. I don't want to hear about Joey Bosa. Just like, come on. We paid them so much money, and they're the best at their position. I want to hear the Mike Williams and the guys that are those fringe guys that, are we overpaying them? Should we have let him go? Like, that's what I want to hear about.
Absolutely. So he did have something to say about Mike Williams. And he kind of rolled into it by saying, and then the guy I'm so excited to coach is Mike Williams. I think this guy is so talented. He's got so much stuff outside the numbers. I think that there's still a lot more inside of him that we can bring out. But this guy is one of the elite, deep players in the league, being able to access the deep part of the field. And I think he is a guy that I'm really looking forward to coach. Just a big-bodied guy that's a really smooth athlete and a big playmaker. He can really get you the explosiveness and is a big target.
Pull that out of him. There's still stuff you can pull out of him. I want to pull it all out. I want to see it all. Staley, let's do this.
I think this is what our fan base needed to hear, though. We needed to hear someone else come in and say, this is why we kept him. You know, like Coach Staley has a vision for what this offense is going to look and the role that Mike Williams is going to play. We let some guys go that were good players, and there had to have been good reasons, but like, tell us why Mike Williams was one of the guys that you decided to keep and pay a lot of money on this last year of his extended deal. And I think it's great to hear, like, he's a stud. Guys, you've all forgotten that he's a stud. You're just looking at money and how much we're paying him. Right. The guy can play. And I think even more so hearing it from a defensive coach, he's probably thinking, how would I contain Mike Williams? What do I have to do to stop him? And he think, like, It takes a lot of work to be able to shut down one guy, but then you have Keenan and all these other guys to handle. So that was what I was most excited to hear on that whole interview was his take on Mike Williams, because he did it like hit another tone. If you haven't listened to it, go back and it's like, because Chris Hare was talking about all of our weapons, and he's like, and Coach kind of went through them all, and then he was like, and then there's this guy, Mike Williams. Right. This is the guy that I'm really excited to coach.
The way that Jones.
He did. He took it to a different level. And there's a couple guys on our team that this is like a big year. They better make something happen. Not only if they want to play on the Chargers, but if they want that big deal in the NFL next year.
Right.
And Mike Williams is one of those guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when we were talking about it last year, we're like, this is a big year for a lot of guys because we just had so many guys that were going to be free agents. Like the list was long. Now, this is a big year for players because you're with a new coaching staff, and this is that like weird kind of cheap year because of COVID from last year. So it's like, this is your opportunity. Like if you want to make a lot of money next year, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
And so to be on this team with this promising of a team, with this promising of a coach staff, absolutely. This is the time to shine. So the fact that he still thinks that there's stuff inside of Mike Williams that we haven't had a chance to see yet is exciting. Because, I mean, you can compare the amount of times that Mike has had a chance to really show that. Like we've talked about in the past, like Mike's not like the target magnet. Like he's those big, catch,
big
the
chunks.
80-20 balls. So, it's exciting. It's exciting to hear. And now Herbert getting a full offseason to work with these guys is just oof.
And there was one other thing in this interview that I kind of found shocking. And it's something new from Coach Staley. When he was talking about Uchenna, this is the first time I've ever heard him say it about one of our players. He said, this guy fits great in our defense. He was like, this guy fits great in our defense. He said he scouted him coming out of college when he was with the Bears and thinking about if they were going to draft him, and he did some homework on him. But then he went on to say that he thinks that this guy fits great in their defense. He's never said that about any player. What he's always said is we make our defense fit around the player. Whatever the guy's skill set is, we're going to build our defense around who we have. This is the first time he's ever said, no, this guy fits great in what I like to do.
Yeah.
Like he has a scheme that he wants to run. If he could pick 11 guys from the NFL, any of them, he has something he wants to run. But he's never said that. He's always said, I'm going to do with what we have. We're going to put the best team out there. And it's all about matchups. We're going to do our best. But with Uchenna, he said, this guy fits great with what we want to do here.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes, because he even went back later on in that podcast. They had like fan questions. I think they've been listening to some of our podcasts and decided it's a good segment to have. But he answered it again the old-fashioned way of, somebody asked about personnel, and he said, look, we're going to get the best out of what we have in our defense. Somebody asked what kind of a defense he runs. He's like, we run what we have. Like we make the best with the guys that we have. I wouldn't say that we have a specific defense, but with Uchenna, he said he fits great in what we do here. So I thought everyone is expecting a big year out of Uchenna. I think coaches as well.
Yeah, I think you see that with that kind of comment, and maybe that's why we're not pulling the trigger on some big name guys to rush the passer. Maybe that's telling a little there.
Yeah, I think 100%. The last thing about that interview that kind of stood out to me was him talking about the fans. Like, I'm really excited for the fans. I'm really excited for this and that. I don't remember any previous coach even acknowledge the fact that they had fans.
Yeah.
It was just like, we're going to go out there, we're going to play football, we're going to try to win, blah, 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 blah. Like, he was like, no, like, I'm excited for the fans to get a chance to see us play out there, like in this beautiful stadium and everything like that. So just the fact that he acknowledged this, I think it was just a nice change of pace.
It's a family experience
to hear. That's right. It's inclusive.
Yes.
So one thing that was not inclusive,
nice
much was
segue.
this next story.
Sick segue.
Boy, there was a kind of a bombshell that came out in the LA Times talking about Dean Spanos' sister, Dea Spanos. I mean, like, I don't understand the naming of
Drop
the siblings.
the
I mean,
N.
you drop the N and like, okay, you got Dean, you got Dean.
Yeah.
Did you say Dean? No, I said D.
D.
No.
I think I can help with the whole Pam dilemma.
Right. So, anyways, I'm sure most of you have heard, but in case you haven't, Dea Spanos, the sister, Dea Spanos Berberian, a co-owner of the team, has filed a petition seeking a sale of the team. The quote from Dea Spanos: Dean refuses to consider a sale of the trust interest of the Chargers, insisting that the co-trustees continue to borrow more and more and to force the charities and beneficiaries to wait for years and to quote-unquote hope while Dean speculates further on a football team. The petition filed in LA Superior Court said, Dean has failed to present any plan to address the trust's bleak financial picture because there is no other plan than the one urged by Berberian. Dean simply refuses to discuss it. So obviously Dean has to have a response to something like that when something that big comes out. So from Dean Spanos, he said, our parents, Alex and Faye, wanted the Chargers to be a part of the Spanos family for generations to come. For the three of us, the Chargers is one of our family's most important legacies, just as it was for our parents. Unfortunately, our sister Dee seems to have a different and misguided personal agenda if Dee no longer wishes to be part of this family legacy. Yikes. Yeah. Christmas is going to be awkward next year.
All right, Dean.
The three of us stand ready to purchase our share of the franchise as our agreements give us the right to do.
With what money, Dean?
I'm sure he'll take out a loan. In the meanwhile, the operations of the Chargers will be entirely unaffected by this matter, which relates only to the 36% share of the team that was owned by our parents. The three of us will remain family united as we seek to fulfill our parents' wishes to make every decision in the best interests of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, so
you liar.
I have no. You're taking. Hey, I'm taking the Dean side. You can take the D side. Okay, the Dean side.
D's nuts.
So this is so bizarre that she doesn't have enough value in the team. She doesn't have enough shares in the team to force anything. So she's deciding that she's going to go play this kind of bullshit, kind of run the team through
publicity stunt kind of thing.
For what reason? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this team, the value is just going to go up and up. She just wants to cash out and bail. Like, that's what it feels like to me. It's so obvious that she just wants to take her money and run, and that's just not going to happen, according to Dino.
Well, her point is that Dean doesn't have any money. None of the family has money, and they're going into debt and more debt and more debt and more debt to try to hold on to this team, which in the long run, it may, but they may bankrupt everyone before then. So she's saying, look, you need to force Dean to sell the team because we can't float everything else going on.
I just think there's too many. It's easy.
No.
There's too many ulterior motives with that.
Dean,
it just seems. Why would they? No. So question. Stop. There's three other. There's two other siblings. Why do the other two siblings side with Dean? Why is she out here by herself doing this? This sounds like a very upset sibling that wants to cash out as quickly as possible.
Why is that a bad thing? Didn't they move to LA to be more valuable so they could sell the team?
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just it's made this situation awkward to like file the petition, and now there's a news article about it, and it's like it's airing out all of this dirty laundry.
I just want them to sell the team. That's my personal opinion.
It's clear. It's clear
At the end
as
of the day.
Yeah.
I don't want Dean Spanos to be our owner. I think
Right.
he is a piece of crap, and I hate that he left San Diego and that we will never get the Chargers back. So I want him gone. And if D can make this happen for me, I'm Team D.
She's your
am
knight in shining
Team
armor,
D.
is she?
Yeah.
D the
Get
knight.
some, D. Yeah. Get some.
I don't know. I don't think it's happening. There wouldn't
There's
do
been
that.
a few articles that have come out as far as to what the motives might be for D as far as going through all of this rigmarole to basically
And I'm
try
sure
to
she wants the money. Are you kidding me?
right.
To get a
I
fourth
think
of the value of the
It's only
Los Angeles
15%.
Chargers?
15%.
yeah, I think the plan is like she would get more money.
Hang on. Only 15%
I know.
of the Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah.
It's a tough
That's
life
not
to
a
live.
small amount of money, Kevin.
So
No.
the one thing that I saw on Reddit that made me laugh is you find something that's so subtle and they didn't really have to do too much, but it makes you laugh
It just
so
works.
hard. So it was Earthquakeinator.
Hang on.
Hold on.
Hang on.
No.
Don't
Stop.
move on past this. I want to hear.
come back.
We'll circle back to you, crybaby
Let him
boy.
set up his joke, and
Let
we'll
me-
come back.
Yeah. Joke smasher, you.
Set up-
The Earthquakeinator on Reddit.
It's a good one.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's like the group getting together, but they're all looking at her, and it's just the subtitle at the bottom says "D, you bitch."
And then at the top it says the Spanos family meeting.
The Spanos
2021.
family meeting 2020. Yeah, I just
Yeah, I
laughed
like-
so hard at that.
Yeah.
I'd like
it
to
is
think
funny.
Dean is Danny DeVito in that picture.
100%.
Dean is Danny for sure.
The shirtless Danny
He's got no
DeVito.
shirt on. Yeah, that's
Wait,
too
hang on.
funny.
So
All right, so back
let's-
to your point, Coach.
Yeah, what do you want to
so
say?
I'm anti Dean Spanos. I'm anti Spanos.
You've made that very
ownership.
clear.
Yeah, we know.
I wanna-
We hear it.
And I think it's important that our listeners know where you guys stand. Are you ready to stand the line? Take it.
Would I rather have like a Jeff Bezos on the team? Yeah, that would make way more sense. That would be awesome. I'd be fine with that.
Right.
Would you rather anyone that has the money to buy an NFL franchise own it over Dean Spanos?
That's a tricky one because I guess you'd have to look at it, but I
They
don't
would
like
like
Dean.
to improve the sale.
You'd like to think that it couldn't get any worse, but it
probably
very
can.
well could.
Yeah,
it could.
I'm not,
I think-
and I'm not a Dean Spanos supporter. I don't have any Dean Spanos T-shirts or gear or anything. I
don't have his jersey
My
either.
point was like, I think this is just bad timing for us as fans to hear all this shit come out in the LA Times. And
Dude,
I think
We're the Chargers. Everyone will forget about it tomorrow.
or not, or this will be a continual thing we'll hear about all
No.
goddamn season long. I think that's what's going to happen, Kyle. And I'm annoyed with it because I think it's a cash grab for her. Your
It is.
Your
And I
issues,
hope it works.
Kyle, just step away from it. Your
I
issues
agree
aside,
with you.
No, wait, what?
I said I agree that it's a cash grab, and I hope she gets that money.
You're such a
I hope
dickhead.
it works. D, get that money.
Get that money, D.
All right.
Yeah.
Screw you, D.
Here's the thing. Like, I wouldn't say that like I'm a supporter of Dean Spanos. I'm a supporter of the
You
Chargers.
guys are
and
so
a supporter.
tippy-toe.
Hang on, let me finish. I'm a supporter of the Chargers. I'm a supporter of the team.
Quit interrupting it,
get to my
goddammit.
point.
That's the title. Okay, sorry.
So
go ahead,
I'm a
Bully.
supporter of the Chargers. I'm a supporter of the team. I'm not rooting for the owner. Every time like I see like a Super Bowl win and the owner comes out and has
It's
something to say,
awkward.
it's like, you didn't do fucking anything. Like, you sat on the sideline petting your dog or whatever the fuck you're doing.
You
in
ran the
fucking
payroll. What
fancy
else
seats.
did you do?
Yeah. You signed the checks, congratulations. Yes, I guess you get to hold the trophy, but do I think that this team could be in better hands and a better owner? 100%.
Of course,
I
yeah.
think that there are better people out
Agreed.
there that can set a better culture than what the Spanos
or
the
less
most recent Spanos had.
or less hands-on. That's the
Hang
big
on.
thing. You could get somebody else in here and not have the
that
whole
doesn't
family.
hire their sons.
Infused into the organization. Like, there's
And
definitely a way to look at it like that.
Our
Yeah.
point is that ownership does play a huge part in the culture of a team. Why is it that certain teams always win? The one consistency is always the ownership. There has to be something about the ownership that falls down. There's a trickle effect to the upper management, to
Kyle,
the coaches.
You make a great point, because you look at this. You look at how this family is handling this. This is a great microcosm for the kind of drama and shit that you hear behind the scenes that Dean has done, or the family has done. It's very kind of like this passive aggressive.
You can't trust them.
It's very passive aggressive way to go about a situation. It's not very adult like, in my opinion.
Come on, Dean.
Yeah. So again, like, I think that the team could very well be in better hands. I'm not going to say that, like, if Dean is the owner next year, then I'm going to strike and I'm not going to watch the Chargers.
No,
hell no.
We're all still fans after they moved from San Diego, so none of us are there. But I just wish it was somebody else.
That's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, do I not like him, or do I not like that he is the owner and the things that have happened? Yes. I don't like that, but I'm still going to be a fan of this team. So nobody's ever going to be like, well, if you don't like Dean Spanos, why are you a fan of the Chargers? Like, so I'm a fan of the Chargers. Like,
I don't root for Dean Spanos.
Yeah. Justin Herbert's like offensive rookie of the year. Like, go away. Like, I don't, what else do you want from me? So yeah. So we'll see what happens as time goes on. I know that there was some other mentions in the article about Dean possibly hiring an investment broker.
He agreed to
get
that.
a sale.
He agreed by 2024.
Yeah.
2024. So there's still a lot of time.
Okay.
It's only 2021, folks.
I hate this. With that information, he moved out of San Diego to sell the team. That sucks. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
You, Dean
Spanos. But that's what I'm saying, Kyle, to go with what you're saying. Like, we're going to hear more like, we just got the
So wait, hang on.
We got the crust. We didn't get any of the good stuff yet. There's more stuff coming out. We're going to be dealing with this all year long.
I can't. D is going for a cash grab right now.
Yeah.
Dean already did it 4 years ago when he moved him to LA. He's already done his cash grab.
Boom!
He's already did it. So you like Dean Spanos. Sorry, that's the title of this episode.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it isn't. All right. Let's get out of this.
Let's get shamelessly positive again.
This forest fire.
Let's go back to shamelessly positive.
Yeah.
Let's go
Chargers.
Come back on.
Go
Kyle.
Chargers.
Come back onto the
All
wagon.
right.
Okay, I'm back.
Let's move on over now into Coach's Corner.
Oh, right into me. Okay.
Yeah, let's go, Dick Boy. Just give us your positivity.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
All comes down to today.
You take this helmet and you put it right in his numbers, okay? I want to see nothing but snot bubbles in his nose.
A lot of people want to blame coaches for a lot of things.
Nobody puts coaches in his corner.
We shut them down because we can.
It's because I believed in you.
And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational, but that just wouldn't be our style.
Let's do it.
All right, so this week on Coach's Corner, we look into some of the questions and ask Boltfam, see if there was any that tickled the coach's interest. And C. Densley 11, congratulations. You've asked a question that has piqued the coach's interest, and you made a voice request, and I don't do this very well. So here we go. What's up, Doc? When reading prospect evaluations, especially for O-line and defensive backs, they talk about the type of scheme that the player would fit best in. For offensive line, it's usually a power versus zone scheme, and for defensive backs, it's man versus zone. What do you expect our new schemes to be? This would help a lot when looking at prospect profiles and understanding if they might be a target as we get closer to draft day.
Great question.
Rabbit season.
Way to go,
Bugs Bunny. Yeah. In honor of the new Space Jam trailer coming out, Bugs Bunny drop.
I am shamelessly positive for that movie. I freaking love the original Space Jam. This might be terrible, but I don't care. I'm being shamelessly positive.
I'm going to watch it.
I'm totally watching it.
Gonna
It's
watch
got
it.
like a Ready Player One vibe. They're like bringing a lot of things
I know.
in.
That's the thing that makes me go, what are you doing?
I'll watch it. I'll be there. My sons will love it. So
I'm
right.
curbing my expectations.
All right,
but
Coach.
all right. So the question
at hand. So there's a couple of things. I think it does help to know what kind of guys that we're looking for when looking at prospects. Again, our look at the draft, I think, is unique from a lot of people's. I try not to get too set on any one person. As we saw last year, Kevin Huggin Duggan was sent on a roller coaster ride draft day. So I try to stay away from that as much as possible. But yeah, when looking at guys, it's fun to see, like, could this guy be a fit? Maybe later round guys. So I think overall in the big picture, we're just going to be a lot more diverse. We need guys that can do a lot of things, which it's kind of a cop-out answer. But if you look at the guys that we've let go this year, we let Casey Hayward go. So I think that can point to a guy what we're not looking for moving forward. Mm-hmm. Casey Hayward is a big zone cover guy. He can get they can take advantage of his matchups one-on-one. He wasn't a guy that really followed the number one receiver because he wasn't great in man-to-man stuff. So he was more of a zone because we know that Gus Bradley loved that cover 3. He could sit back. He had some cushion before he had to really turn and run with anyone. He was never up on the line pressing guys. So I think when you look at perspectives for the defensive back position, you look at bigger, more physical guys. Mike Davis developed into a more physical guy last year. You saw the way he hit. It was a lot different than his first couple of years. He's very fast. He's a 4.3 guy. So you got to look for that guy that can come up, press, and run with anyone in the league. Casey can't do that anymore. I think that's why we let him go. So when it comes to defensive back, I think those guys that can come up and play more press, any guy that can come up and play press should be able to still facilitate a zone scheme. But not all zone corner guys can come up and be an elite press guy and run with anyone. So I think that's what you'd look for in defensive backs. Offensive line, everyone thinks that we're moving to this kind of Shanahan style offense. And those offensive linemen tend to be more athletic guys. They're not the big bruiser, power downhill guys. They're guys that can get out in space. You can run the screens to your receivers and they can get out there and make a block. They can get sideways on zone schemes. So you have to look at some of those guys that are a little bit more athletic than just a big bruising. We're going to run it down your throat 400 times a game. So I think that's kind of what you look for from those two specific positions, O-line and DB. Look at the guys that we let go, and that'll give you a look at what we're trying to avoid and work towards.
That's good. I think it's look at interesting that you mentioned that, because I'm thinking now back to the guys that we have picked up outside of like Lindsley and Ibushi. Filer we've seen play both guard and tackle. Fackrell we've seen play both linebacker and special teams. The guy that we just picked up, Smith, has been playing cornerback and special teams. I think we're looking for a squad of players that are pretty diverse in the positions that they can play and could possibly spill over into the draft as far as who we end up picking up. If, what kind of a player are they? So I think that's great. Great insight. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Kai.
For taking a look at Mr. Densley's question. All right, now we move on over to Bolt Insight. And we've got a part 2 to a part 1. Let's see what it was.
All right, guys, we are back with the one and only John from Costa Mesa, the official Charger Chatbot analyst. What is going on, John?
Not a whole lot. Just getting off work, drinking a beer.
Nice. Nice, man. So, all right, cool. So we're back with another breakdown. And so tell us a little bit about some of the things you found with the coaching for Herbert. And should he be worse? Should he be better?
Yeah, so this is sort of started by a claim made by PFF, which is basically, quarterbacks that have a coaching change do worse than those that don't have coaching change. And I'll just read you the list of quarterbacks they gave for guys that did have a coaching change.
Okay.
It's Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson, Mitchell Trubisky, Jared Goff, Paxton Lynch, Marcus Mariota, Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Brandon Weeden, Andrew Luck, Blaine Gabbert, Tim Tebow, and Sam Bradford. So, I mean, there's a few good guys in there.
There's a lot of doozies in there, though.
Yeah, a lot of bad quarterbacks. And the list of guys that they give that didn't change coaches is Cam Newton, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston, Ryan Tannehill, and Josh Allen. So, it's a little bit mixed, but it's still a much better bag of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And so, the idea is that quarterbacks that do change coaches fare worse than those that don't change coaches. So I decided to look at the numbers. And so I looked at EPA, which is expected points added, and also at PFF grades. And if you look, quarterbacks that do change coaches do, on the whole, do worse after that. The problem with the claim that they're making, though, is it's a bit like saying, diets make you fat, because I looked, and most people that are on diets tend to be heavier, or saying that medicine makes you sick, because I've only seen sick people taking medicine. And so that sort of error that they're making is called selection bias, where basically the difference between the two groups predates the effect that you're attributing it to. So again, it's kind of like people on diets are fatter before they are on diets.
Sure.
And so I want to see if that was true in the data. And so what I did is I actually looked at these quarterbacks, their EPA and PFF grades as rookies. So before they even had a coaching change. And not only is there a difference there, it's actually bigger before the coaching change. So the guys that are going to have their coaches fired, is essentially what's going on, are way worse than the guys that are about to keep the same coach.
Oh, there's a reason why they got fired, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, a lot of the times these rookies in the first place are drafted kind of as Hail Marys for guys on the hot seat anyways. So basically the guys that are bad get their coaches fired. We're probably going to get fired anyways. And that's not really the case with Herbert. I mean, his coach did get fired, but he wasn't bad. And in fact, if you compare him to other rookies that who's had coaching changes, he's closer to the best season in NFL history, which is 2004 Manning, than he is just to like the average rookie who gets his coach fired.
Oh, wow.
So it's a huge gap. And if you
so
go
how Lynn got fired is mind blowing.
I know that basically the only other quarterback who's even like remotely as good and had a coaching change is Andrew Luck. But if you recall, his coordinator was Bruce Arians. So he didn't get his coach fired; he got him hired. But everyone else who underwent a coaching change is so much worse than Herbert. So it's not even really a valid comparison, even if he was kind of similar to the rest of the pack, which he's not.
Yeah,
so he's a total outlier.
What a bizarre situation. Yeah, I still can't figure out like how Lynn got fired from the Chargers with how well he was doing. They just needed to be serviceable in other areas. That's it. But they just couldn't do it. So, and now we have Staley, and we got excitement, and that we got the defense that should back up Herbert. So what are some other things you saw when doing that research that would be, helpful to know or to look at?
Yeah. So there's a few things. So one is, basically I decided to separate good quarterback, coaching change, good quarterback, no coaching change, bad quarterback, coaching change, bad quarterback, no coaching change. And you find that the coaching change actually makes no difference. So good quarterbacks are good, continue to be good, whether they have a coaching change or not. Bad quarterbacks tend to actually improve a bit. Just they can't get worse than they were as rookies, so they improve a bit. And that's true whether they have a coaching change or not. And then the other thing that was really interesting is like just how predictive a quarterback's rookie season is for the rest of their career. So if you look at I plotted EPA again, just to measure how good they are as a rookie versus how they are for the rest of their career besides rookie, and it's a super tight correlation.
What are we looking at? What are we looking at comps wise?
Well, so basically, you think of the fact that most of these guys that were bad as rookies, stay bad. Josh Rosen didn't get better. Okay, Josh Allen did, but Jared Goff, maybe he looked like he was going to do better. But the reverse is true too. So guys like Andrew Luck, who had a good rookie season, he didn't get bad. Dak Prescott, he's had a good career. If you look actually at the top 10 rookie seasons of all times and you normalize for error, half the guys end up in the Hall of Fame. So it's not really the case that there's guys that just come crashing and burning. If you're good as a rookie, you tend to be good for the rest of your career.
Music to my ears, John. Music to my ears, bro.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed learning about that as much as I've enjoyed researching it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And why don't you let everyone know where they can check this out?
Sure. I have a blog. It's mibpj.wordpress.com.
Awesome. Well, go check it out and go enjoy the the essence of Herbert going to the Hall of Fame. Was essentially what you're saying, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Put money down. If that bet doesn't hit, then you can blame me.
Cool. I'll do a futures bet on that for sure.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Future Hall of Fame
Music
quarterback is already on the roster. I love it.
Love it. I'm just so excited to watch him play again, man. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Every 3 or 4 days, I will pull up the highlights. And it's just so fun to watch.
It's now gotten to the point where I'm not watching Justin Herbert highlights. I'm watching Jalen Guyton highlights. I'm watching
know.
T. Billy highlights, which
they're
only highlights because he's a part of it as well.
Yeah,
So
they are Justin Herbert highlights.
There's different iterations of Herbert highlights, but
it's too much fun.
But it's good now that we have, our analyst John being able to throw out numbers to be like, okay, everybody, guess what? We pretty much got like the best quarterback right now. Like,
So you're saying we have the best one,
and I've got the numbers to prove it.
Yeah.
So.
I love that he's
excellent.
just like taking a personal stance that I need to refute this PFF crazy.
I know, right?
Which is great.
I love it.
It's like you hear this stuff, you're like, that's not right.
That doesn't make
but
sense.
I
Right.
guess. And
Yeah,
then
we
he's
could
like,
say it.
That's not right. I'm going to go look at all the data. And I'm like, thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, like we don't have the data. We're just like, that's wrong. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I don't know.
He's like
It
a
just
math.
is.
He's like a math superhero. He's just like fighting crimes at night on his computer with numbers
for the betterment of the Chargers.
PFF is his Joker.
Yeah,
he's
right.
the Batman to the PFF Joker.
His arch nemesis. All right. Well, thank you, John, for stopping by and finishing up on that numbers breakdown for our boy Herbert. We are just as excited as clams to be able to see him play next season. So let's now get out of Bolt Insight and move on over to Fan Focus. We've got another great one lined up. Let's see who it is.
All right, guys, we're here with another Fan Focus, and we're excited to have Eric from Ontario, Canada. What is going on, Eric?
I'm doing good, Kevin. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thank you for coming on and chatting with us. We it's always fun to meet, hang out with fellow fans from all over the world. So, like Ontario, Canada, how did you become a Charger fan?
Yeah, so up here in Canada, there's no really particular allegiance to any kind of football team, since obviously Canada, we got the CFL going on over here. So. Sure. They got a lot of Bills fans up here because we're kind of close to Niagara Falls and all of that sort of thing. So we kind of get to pick our own team. Basically, I used to stay at my aunt's house and during my elementary school days. And the Sunday night game, there was a Sunday night game in the early 2000s, 2000 maybe 2 or 3. I remember Drew Brees was still on the team.
Oh, wow.
And I seen those beautiful powder blues on the screen. And I was just like, whoa. I was like, these uniforms are freaking sweet, dude. So ever since then, kept watching the games week after week. And I'm from a European family, so I started trying to tell my parents, I'm watching a lot of football now. And my dad would be like, football is what's, like with your feet. And then he's like, this stuff is junk. This is crazy. So I was a lone fan in my house, just watching the Chargers every week as much as I could. And in those early 2000 days, it was hard to, the cable packages aren't as extensive as stuff now. It's
I'm sure.
And all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was basically, if your team was hot, you would get to see it on your local television station. And if they weren't, no Chargers football for me. So I'd only get to see them kind of if we were doing really well, like those 12-4, 14-2 seasons in 2006. And then if they were playing some of the popular teams like the Patriots, Steelers, Cowboys, stuff like that, that's when I would see them.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like the the need of being in certain areas, because the same thing here. I'm in Kansas City area, so I'm always stuck with those on local TV. So I have to throw tons of money at like the app and do all that stuff. So it's kind of a pain. So power to you for sticking with it for that long, only catching glimpses. I know there's some years in there where our teams were not that good, so I can't imagine they were showing up there too much.
Yeah, exactly. Like those dull years when we had a couple of those like 3-13s, 4-12s. I would only catch them if they would play, like I said, like one of those popular like powerhouse teams that bring in ratings from everywhere, because those will always show up here. So that's the only time I got to see them. So I had to stick through it, but glad I did.
That's awesome, man. All right, cool. So let's talk a little bit about the season so far and what the Chargers have kind of done. The offseason, there's been so many moves, a lot of stuff going on. So what has been your favorite so far?
I think my favorite's got to be the status quo of everybody else, getting Lindsley short up right in the center there. I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, tons of tweets going out there, basically like all of those PFF guys, which we love so much.
I know, right?
Going from worst to first for center. So, I mean, you got to be stoked about that, getting Herbert some protection right up the middle there, and then just adding a few of those other pieces to the line. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's to come. It makes the draft a lot more interesting, especially now with letting go of Casey and some of those other guys, and freaking Hunter Henry signing elsewhere and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's coming too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's definitely exciting, you know, and Staley and all the, there's so many things you could pick from. That's not our usual off season. It's usually like a guy going out the door, one coming in, but now it's like wholesale changes, which has been extremely exciting as a Charger fan to watch all that. So, all right. So we're getting, you know, the countdown has begun. We're getting closer to this draft, and there's some needs, like you'd mentioned, cornerback, losing Casey. There's some things, you know, without, you know, worrying about what other people are thinking. What would you like to do with the first pick in the draft?
All right. So I saw a little teaser our boy Popper put out there like a week or so, maybe a few days ago now, about it's something along the lines of basically implying that we could sign Orlando Brown with the extra cap room that we have now and saving this cap right before the draft. So if we do that, and if Sewell is already gone and maybe Slater's gone, Vera Tucker's probably my next go. But then from there, I would say probably best player available for sure. And now that all these pro days are the footage is getting released, that Kyle Pitts is just getting more and more interesting, but I doubt he's going to come our way at this. He's getting so much hype. But I mean, you watch that guy run out there and you see you're like, wow, this is a talented wide receiver. Then you look on his little bib there and you see tight end on there.
He's a wide receiver. He's just a massive wide receiver is what he is.
Like, holy cow. Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine having that guy just like ripping up the seam of right down the middle and taking bullet passes from Herb to the house.
Sure.
I mean, that would be an ideal scenario if he fell somehow to that spot. But I've been seeing some mocks now too, where Sewell's been falling kind of to 12-ish, 10-ish area. Mm-hmm. So that would be something if he came to us too. So I guess those are my picks for what I'd like to see from the draft.
Yeah, there's so many different scenarios. It's like I'd be curious to see in the next couple of weeks if we do sign a free agent. You know, if we can work something out, that changes the whole dynamic. Then it becomes a little easier to go cornerback, or it's a little easier to like sit back in the draft, maybe trade back. So there's so many variables, and it's just as a Charger fan, you start pulling your hair out. Like, I can't. This is too much.
For corners, I mean, we always. Surtain seems to be the guy that everybody wants, but I don't know. I've never trusted Bama corners in the NFL for some reason. I don't know if that's just a lazy fan take or something like that. But I mean, me and my group of friends, we always see that top Bama corner projected to go in the first round, and you just get a little on edge to see if they'll pan out or not. So if he falls to us and we take him, I mean, I'd be happy too. And if he pans out, I mean, just as long as he's not a Verrett and he's injured, most of the time we'll be good.
Yeah, that's the goal for this year, is to keep everyone healthy. So I agree. So, all right, Eric, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was great having you, and we really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Anytime. Keep it up, guys.
Awesome, man. All right. We will talk to you later.
All right. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Oh, I love it. I feel bad. Kevin does all of our interviews and all of our fan focuses, all of that stuff. And I'm like, that ending must be so a little bit awkward. Like, are you gonna say kill everybody?
I never say it first because I don't want to. It's up to the.
It's a good test. It's a good test of like where they're at.
Right. Because if you do it there and you're like, "Hey, love you, bye," like, huh?
Like, I would never do that. No, but I love it, dude. It's like our we just have a lot of love to give in this podcast, and I just appreciate everybody that will.
That's right. It's still every week. It's just like it's so exciting.
It makes you smile. You're like, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I love you too, bro. Later.
I love you too, man.
I love you too, man. Later.
Great points there, Eric. Thank you for coming on, man, and just instilling a lot more energy for what's been going on this offseason, man. It's just, again, with this draft coming up and these offseason moves, it's just like, God, we don't know who's going to be there. Like, who could it be now? Who
could it be
now? So it's going to be an edge of the seat roller coaster. We've still got, I think, 25 days or so until the draft actually happens. So it's going to be 25 days of just constantly checking Twitter going like, did we pick anybody else up? Like, did we pick anybody else up? Like, did we fill any holes, or how many holes do we still have left? So
no joke. Every time I get an alert on my phone, I'm like praying that it says Chargers move up to number 4. Chargers move up to number 4.
Oh God.
Oh man.
That would be pretty wild. So thank you again, Eric, for coming on. And now it's time to go on over to the one we love. It's the Craig Experience.
Oh, hello there, CC gang. What's going on? To the rest of the Bolt fam, what's up? It's the guy Craig in Texas, and welcome to another edition of the Craig Experience. Now, we've touched on a few areas of need here talking about the draft, positions like offensive tackle and cornerback, but there's one spot that I think is kind of fallen by the wayside that we really need to pay attention to, and that's wide receiver. Reason being, Mike Will had that 5th-year option picked up, which means he's getting paid a pretty penny this year. And if he plays really, really well, he's going to want more money heading into the following season. And not sure if the Chargers are willing to pick up the tab on that one. I mean, think about Mike Will getting paid more than Keenan Allen. Does that really seem like it makes sense? I don't know. Not something I would really be about. But with that being said, one element that this team's really, really lacking in, that I don't think they have an elite level of, is speed. And I know everybody's going to say, well, what about Jalen Guyton and T. Billy? Great, 4.3 guys, right? Well, they are above average speed. Fast guys, no doubt. But what I'm talking about is elite level speed. I mean, like top of the line 4.2-ish speed. Guys that anytime they touch the ball, they're a threat to take it to the house. They won't just beat you over the top. It could just be a simple bubble screen. But anytime they touch the ball, they're a threat to go all the way. We need that threat. It would do wonders for Herbert. And think about being able to not just have to launch the ball down the field to guys, but being able to get something short to them on a slant, some sort of quick bubble screen, and then just take off and it's a wrap. I mean, you've got guys in the first round like a Jalen Waddle, which, I don't want any parts of that. Because we could really use that first round pick on something the team really needs. Of course, offensive tackle or even a corner. But when we're talking about guys with speed of that nature, it's either a cat like him or a guy that's later in the draft like an Anthony Schwartz out of Auburn, who's a developmental cat. And he's got that same type of speed, but he's not maybe a day one wide receiver type 3 that you want to plug in there. He could definitely come in on special teams, maybe be a gadget guy to start and develop over time, but we definitely need to get somebody in there to start developing. And actually, we just need that type of speed on the field. So a couple guys that I am interested in, though, that make a lot of sense, maybe in the 2nd or 3rd rounds. Cats like Dwayne Eskridge out of Central Michigan. He's 5'9", so a little bit of a shorter guy, but what's elite for him is his acceleration. I mean, as soon as he gets his hands on the ball, it's 1 foot in the ground and he's gone. Good luck. If you don't catch him within those first couple steps, it's probably good night for you. He's at top speed within the first 1-2 steps, and there's no catching him after that. And I mean, he's also a really, really good yak guy, so yards after the catch. He has more of, if you want to look at it this way, a defender mentality once he catches the ball. It's kind of downhill. He doesn't really avoid contact, so he's more of a violent runner after the catch. But I really like that. Somebody who's not going to tippy-toe around and dance. It's get the ball and get straight up the field. Gotta love that. Gotta respect it. And then there's cats like Elijah Moore, who's really my guy. I would say he's become more so of my guy in the last few weeks out of Ole Miss. Another shorter 5'9" guy, another low 4'3" cat. But what sets him apart is elite hands. I would argue the best hands in the entire draft. Awesome short area quickness. And he's one of those guys that if he gets behind you, it's it. It's over. Good night for that one also. Special teams value there, the same as Eskridge. So, I mean, you kill a bunch of birds with one stone. You got your wide receiver 3, you got a burner, you got somebody who's polished, and you got special teams chops. So, covers a bunch of different bases, and it's also somebody that maybe can develop into a wide receiver 2 in the event that Mike Williams isn't back after next season. So, hey, those are my picks. Fellas, what you got? Let me hear about what you think as far as the wide receiver position is concerned, because unfortunately, it is something we have to pay attention to. I think the team's probably got it on their radar also. So, as always, Bo Ganger don't bang. Okay, love you, bye.
All right, Craig, man. As soon as you said wide receiver, I saw my brothers. They were bristling. They got their dander up. But you made your point. You made it very clear.
So what I took from it, what I think I agree with, I think is that elite speed. You need to have it to compete. You know what I mean? You need to have that to compete with the Kansas Cities. You've seen what they've done with Tyreek Hill. You've seen that.
It's an element that we don't have.
We don't have that kind of speed. We don't.
So, elite.
My thought on that is if there's somebody with that elite speed that is more of a prospect, I think that's this kind of draft. I don't think you're going after a guy very early that has that. I think, and he mentioned some guys in the later rounds that have that 4.2 speed that are projects. And I think you can take. We have 9 picks this draft. I think you can take a shot at one of these guys later. I think you can take a shot at one of these guys later with the upside opportunity. I think that makes sense. Go ahead, Kyle. You can raise your hand.
Yeah, I have a couple of comments, questions, concerns.
Let's hear it.
All of the above. Okay. No, here's what I agree. I agree with Craig. I think that the wide receiver, if addressed, it's looking to the future, to what happens with Mike Williams. I think based on what happens this year, you need a guy to replace that. But I think the kind of player that he's talking about isn't the guy that replaces a Mike Williams. Mike Williams, we know, is a big body guy that's a 50-50 ball, 70-30 ball guy. You know, like that's the part of the offense that he 80-20. That's the part of the offense that he fills in. He's not that Tyreek Hill. That's not what he is.
Right.
So if our offense is going to move away from having a big body receiver, which most teams in the NFL have one big guy that can go up and catch the ball, then that's fine. But I do agree with the fact that we need a guy. Now, I don't think it comes down to speed. I think it comes down to being dynamic. Now, if you're a 4.3 guy or a 4.2 guy, I'm sorry, but that's a tenth of a second, right? Like I guess that's a lot in track terms, but like, in my opinion, a 4.3 guy, if you're looking for a project guy that could be that killer speed guy, I think T-Billy and Jalen Guyton could be that. I mean, they are project guys. They played 1 year in the NFL.
For sure.
Why am I going to draft someone in the 4th round to be a project guy when I have 2 guys on the roster that in my mind projects. As a fan are projects?
Right.
But I agree with the fact we don't have anyone like a Tyreek Hill.
Correct.
We don't have that dynamic, hit him in a bubble and he's going to break away.
Yeah.
Jalen Guyton and T-Billy, that's not what they do. They run over the top. They catch that deep ball. They're like that Travis Benjamin type. They're not that dynamic ball catcher, make people miss and get upfield. Now, this guy that I'm going to bring up is not at all a burner. He's not. He's not the fastest guy in the draft.
We're going to go the other direction.
Yeah. But he's dynamic. He played both wide receiver and running back in college. And I think adding him to our team adds an element of what our staff is looking for. Kind of a guy that can do a lot of different things. He can create mismatches from a lot of different positions. And that's Demetric Felton from UCLA. I loved watching him in the Senior Bowl. That's what I care about. I care about watching people play football. And this guy made plays. I don't care. You guys know how I feel about the combine.
If you're slow, it's A-okay with me.
By no means is he slow. He's a fast running back. He's a slower wide receiver, but he's dynamic and he can make plays. You get a running back like this with a ball in a bubble. I think he can make plays. I think he adds some dynamic to your offense. That is what we're looking for.
Well, question.
In my other point, last point, final, and then I'll get to your question. We're not going to find a Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a once in a decade type of a talent that everyone wants, but it's hard to find.
So your pick, though, we already have. You're talking about these guys that we have or they're already projects. Don't we have that in Joe Reed already? Didn't we draft him? He's the running back / wide receiver.
KJ Hill?
Joe Reed never
extremely
played
versatile guy in college. Did
guy.
Really amazing stuff in college. We're talking about people that we kind of already have on a roster. Just to go off what you were saying, like we kind of already have these people there. And developing them. And KJ Hill, like we have so many wide receivers that should be, are supposed to be good. I just don't fully see the real need to like reach for one of these guys unless they're spectacular or there's the diamond in the rough.
But I think part of my point is we're not going to reach for one. It's going to be a fourth, second, third round pick. It's not going to be a first round guy.
Oh no,
it's going to be a guy that you find as a steal that fell and you weren't expecting him to fall, and you take that chance.
Agreed.
Obviously, Joe Reed, KJ Hill didn't impress much his rookie year. Now they could improve. They could be that project, but I'd take my chances on T. Billy or Guyton as a project over those two that didn't play at all their rookie year.
Right. There's a difference between versatility and being dynamic.
Right.
Yeah. So I think in Joe Reed, we see the versatility as far as his playmaking abilities or where he plays, what side of the ball, or what aspect of the game, I should say. But as far as like dynamic, like the guys that Kyle was talking about, or even the guys that Craig was talking about, those are guys that can at least give us a bit of a change to what it is that we already have on our roster comparatively.
Sure.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Craig, for taking a look at the wide receivers.
Thank you, Craig.
I
wasn't ready to talk about wide receivers.
I know. I'm glad that you prefaced it and you made it clear that like this isn't anybody that we should be going for in the first round. But definitely, if somebody falls far enough and they become
gotta look at all the positions, man. You gotta look at all of them because you never know who's going to be available.
If Jalen Waddle falls to us, I would be hard
falls
for
to us
the
what
Chargers
round?
to press. I think in the first, Jalen Waddle.
He's not going out of the first.
Yeah, he's not going to leave.
I would be truly upset if we drafted Jalen Waddle.
Now we're gonna have to. You just jinxed it, dude.
Truly
upset. That's what you said about Justin Herbert last year.
Truly upset if we just.
All right, folks. Episode 75. You all know which one to go back to when draft day comes around.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, let's get out of this nightmare experience and go on over to Boltfam. Asking the Boltfam. We reached out to you guys. You guys asked some great questions, and some of you made some recommendations that will be a bit of a stretch for me.
I'm saying the what we heard back this week was out of control. It's unlike any of the Ask Bolt fans we've ever had. The involvement from you guys is just skyrocketing. So thank you, and let's kick this thing's ass.
That's right.
Let's go, boys.
If anybody complains this episode is too long, it's your own damn fault. All right, let's start this puppy off. We started off with the glorious End, who asked the question. Bros, very curious to know what your guys' conversations have been like regarding the Spanos clan dysfunction as of late. Sister suing Dino, Spumoni himself, and two high-powered attorneys on opposite sides of the ring. Could we finally see a forced sale of the team when the NFL has refused to acknowledge the move was a bad call in the first place? Thanks again. Okay, love you. Bye.
Good one, Glorious End.
Yeah, we kind of touched on it, and we know where the coach's feelings lie.
The question is, could this happen? I think with that 2024 statement that was brought out in this document, it's already been talked about. It's already on. It's already on the docket of things that he promised people he was going to do. So I think will it happen this year? I don't think so. Just the way the court system works, how slow that is. But 2024 is not far away, and that was a conversation that was had, and it's on a legal document now. So I think it's very realistic that this could happen.
There's no reason they go to LA unless they're planning to sell the team.
It makes sense.
It's going to happen.
Big picture, you step back, look at it, it makes sense.
Right. Right now, given the team's situation with the success of Justin Herbert, being in this new market that we are starting to, for all intents and purposes, I think the Chargers are the ones that are winning LA right now. Who knows what can happen in the next few years and what this fan base ends up being for the Chargers when it comes to being 2024. So we'll see what happens. Stranger things have happened, but it's been definitely a tumultuous ride, to say the least.
Just not looking forward to the fallout that's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, the drama, I'm not looking forward to that aspect of it. Yeah, the drama I wish would be more behind closed doors.
Once they sell the team, that drama's over. They're done.
That's very true.
But 2024 is not very soon. I'm going to be
2024
40.
is still a ways away.
I don't want to be dealing with this till I'm 40.
Yeah.
Grandpa hugging.
I know. I will be. I will be way grandpa.
Pipe down.
Pull your pants up. All right. Now we
Drink
move
your
on over.
coffee and relax.
Put your teeth back in. It's time now to look over at YNWA Dad, who asked the question.
Don't you guys do it. No, you stop. Hey,
I wasn't going to do it.
Great win on Saturday for the Liverpool Football Club. It was a big
Congratulations.
win.
Yes.
They won
Thank you.
the match. They won the match.
Hey. All right. Let's go to his question. Who would win in an MMA style fight? Dea the Destroyer Spanos or Sean Rosé McVay?
It's not fair because Sean Rosé McVay has an Air Bud water playing basketball dog.
That's true.
With teeth. So I think the dog would eat the D Spani.
I don't know. Dea the Destroyer, I think, might
she
be.
She is taking on 3 dudes right now. It's going at it pretty hard.
She's taking on the NFL right now. Yeah, she has no fear.
Yeah, she's fearless.
And Sean Rosé McVay.
She's kind of reckless. She's just kind of swinging from all over the place, like spitting at people. She might be a little wild card. You never know.
Yeah, she might catch him with one of those flying back fists.
You never know.
Yeah, one of those lucky strikes. I mean, he's sipping a wine cup, and she just like just backhands him right in the jaw.
I would love to see that.
You got to see you got to see this move I've been working on all summer, and then flying back fist right to the chin.
He falls into the pool and just floats face down. They need a new head coach.
All right, yeah, Dea the Destroyer. That's where my money's at.
Good.
Thank you,
question.
YNWA Dad. All right, now we move on to Mark Woolley. Hey, cousin Mark, good to hear from you, buddy. Now he's got a question. It goes a little something like this.
Word dog?
Now that the dust is settled with free agency and with draft on the horizon, it looks more and more like a solid offensive line or a playmaking wide receiver Pitts, or trade back and get more mid-round picks next year. I ask, which do you rather them take, knowing what you know now?
Offensive line, please. I want
offensive line. Offensive line, man.
I want Penei Sewell. I want him so bad. And I'm seeing all this shit, and it's like the hope is high. And
here's I don't know.
Don't say I don't know. You have to know.
You need to know, Coach. That's why we pay
say.
you. We pay you the big bucks so you know.
I make $0 off of this, by the way.
Don't tell anybody.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Credibility.
I mean,
Credibility.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
shut up.
Yeah.
Rain.
Yeah. You guys have heard our sponsors at the end.
That's right.
No, I think that if I finally come to terms with if Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell are off, I'm okay with a later tackle. Whether that be we pick someone at our first round pick and then move up to get one at the end of the first if tackles start going, or
like a Cosme kind of thing,
like a Cosme or the Notre Dame tackle that I'm
Eichenberg.
Eichenberg, yeah, like an Eichenberg.
Kick the
like
baby.
One of those
Don't
guys
kick the baby.
falls,
Sorry.
I could see something like that. But in the first 2 rounds, whether you move up, move back, move sideways, left and right, you have to get. We don't like right now. We don't have a left tackle,
right?
And as far as like free agent options that are out there, it's dwindling quick. So I think it has to be addressed in the first or second round, and it has to be a guy that our management feels really comfortable with starting day one because we don't have anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Yeah,
unless it's Pipkins or Storm Norton.
Yeah, which should not be the case.
The number one choice.
No. Right? So yeah, I think offensive line would definitely be the goal because that is a hole. That is a straight up hole. Like we've got some tight ends. You know, we just signed one this offseason and Jared Cook.
That's not a need. Nope.
Yeah, so that we got to look at what is a need in the first round and preferably would be offensive line. So thanks, Mark. Great to hear from you. Next, we move on to Dirty Sock 101. Great name, by the way.
Solid.
Like English 101. This guy knows, he knows how to get those socks dirty.
It's a battle. It's a battle between the Reddit names and the Twitter names. Reddit's on fire, dude. Reddit's got some solid names.
What kind of dirty are we talking?
kind of dirty
this
sock?
This is 101. So this is your beginner stage dirty sock. Yeah, this isn't
just that normal.
This isn't heinous. This isn't 202 or anything like that.
This is a freshman class dirty sock.
All right, he asks a question. Sacre bleu. Which Charger player do you identify with as your spirit animal?
You got to read
my oysters.
You got to read what he requested. This shit's out of control.
A Frenchman upset with the waiter who dropped his oysters. Where are my oysters? Oh, my socks, they are dirty. How will I clean them? I know. I will go to school. I will sign out Dirty Socks 101. Qu'est-ce que c'est? All right, shit. Spirit animal. I think this is a great question. I think I've got one. So for me, I think my spirit animal is Austin Eckler. That guy, to be the underappreciated running back that he was, to work and strive and move his way up to be the lead running back on this team and to get that contract, for me, Austin, baby, you're my spirit animal.
I'm just going to go number 10 because he just makes me happy.
Sure. No reason not to. That's
wearing
right,
my
baby.
brand new jersey, by the way, my Karen jersey. Thank you, Karen. Fits nicely. So I'm going Herbo just because that's the easy answer. And yeah, I like it.
My spirit animal, I'm thinking more in the terms of like, yeah, like I think I'm thinking like my football career of spirit animal. I'm thinking Gabe Neighbors. I just think that fullback.
Nice.
You know, like
good answer.
Old school.
I like it.
Do the dirty work, get stuff done, do what needs to be done, and don't get any of the praise kind of guy.
Mine would probably be, honestly,
kind of like,
yeah.
Kind of like on this podcast. Like you guys do, actually, you guys are like the fullbacks.
Yeah. We're a couple of Gabe Neighbors over here.
My Gabe Neighbors. They do everything. I just show up on Monday nights and record.
You bring the knowledge. Yeah. I think, honestly, more realistically, I'd probably be just a general practice squad player. That's my spirit animal.
A Questenberry?
Yeah.
You're an Easton Stick.
Like, he really wants to get in the game. He might have what it takes, but not
he's
quite
ready.
sure.
He's studied a lot.
Yeah.
He's ready to go if he gets opportunity.
Yeah. But he's got the choke gene, so you never know what could happen. He's a practice squad guy. That's my spirit animal.
All right. Well, thank you, Dirty Sock, for asking a great question. All right. We move on now to Okie Doggy, who asks a question. It seems as though everyone is top 2 tackles or draft BPA if they are gone. Personally, I think Darisaw is a tackle that would be just as good, who would be a scheme fit as well, and everyone's saying that they would rather do this or that. It's reminding me of last year when there were fans that didn't want Air Bear. So I want to get your guys' opinions on this. If the top 2 tackles are gone and the top 2 corners are gone, which would you do if these players were left available? Caleb Farley, Virginia Tech corner, who has injury concerns. Devante Smith, Heisman winner, receiver from Alabama. Christian Darrisaw, Virginia Tech tackle. Or Micah Parsons, Penn State linebacker, who has conflicting reports on his character. Would you draft one of them or trade down? Don't forget to get tested for diabetes.
He requested Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley.
I love this. It's from The Thing. The old guy.
Well, that was his heyday. Like now in his older years, it's diabetes.
I want tackle. I'm Darisaw all the way. I could see. I don't like. I want the 13th pick. I don't think trading back. With basically who's available, I think there's going to be more people available than this at 13 once it lands to us with all the moves that have happened. Mm-hmm. So if this is what's available, I'm taking Darisaw and I'm trying to come back up into the second for, some defensive need or something else, a great player in the first round. That's what I would do.
I think if Devante Smith falls to us, I don't know if you guys watched much of this guy play.
I don't know if you're aware what a Heisman Trophy is, but
dude, he is incredible. His only knock is he doesn't weigh a lot, like his weight. That's what no one likes. If he was 200 pounds, this guy would have been a top 5 pick.
Guys, and do we not remember Darren Sproles? Like he was so tiny.
The guy, and he just
you're making an argument for him, Kevin.
I know I am.
What's happening? Devante Smith played in the SEC, which is arguably the most like physical conference in football. Played every game and won a Heisman Trophy.
Wide receiver.
I stop overlooking this guy. If he falls to us, I think that's an absolute. And I don't even want a wide receiver.
You clearly stated that earlier.
But if this guy, I honestly think that if Devante Smith falls to us, you almost have to draft him, and then try to find that tackle. Whether you move up, get rid of your extra third, or you find that tackle in your second round. But Devante Smith falling to us, it's a Heisman Trophy winner as a. Quarterbacks win Heisman trophies. Wide receivers do not win Heisman trophies.
It's true.
The guy was that good. So yeah, if he falls to us, I don't know how you don't. But we got to
remember too. Got to remember, Tlusco. We're always talking about the needs we want, what we want. He always takes the best available. His track record has always been best available. So we can wax poetic as much as we want about the tackles we want, but if there's a better available player, we're probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Just make it Devante Smith and let's never talk about it again. All right.
It would fix Craig Experience's issue with wanting to
have. It really would.
Yeah.
I mean, is he that kind of a player, Kyle? Is he the dynamic type of player that you're talking about wanting to get?
In all honesty, he reminds me a lot of a Keenan Allen, like a great route runner, great hands, will catch everything. But we've never seen two Keenan Allens on one team, and I think that would be pretty cool to see. So,
two Keenan Allens, one field?
Yeah.
I don't think you can find that online anymore.
I think they took that off of Pornhub.
Two Keenan Allens, one field. That's the episode title.
All right, there you go. Write it down. All right, now we move on to Zach Marincic, who asked the question, do you guys think Kaiser White has any value? Could Staley elevate his play like he has with so many other guys? What type of role could he play?
I think Staley just talked about him in the presser, so I think he's excited about him. I think he definitely
did name drop him. Yeah.
Kaiser White is a dynamic guy. That's what we want. He played safety in college, converted to linebacker, and he's done a good job. I don't think he's done a bad job by any means. I think he's been overshadowed by some guys that came into the league and really performed. Kenneth Murray's, Drew Tranquil's, these guys that have kind of stepped. Denzel
Perryman, sorry, yeah.
A Drew Perryman, that would be. Oh, can you imagine a Drew Tranquil, Denzel Perryman baby? That would be awesome football player.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't see any reason why he won't be even more dynamic with a coach that will move him around. Because I think that Kaiser could be utilized in a little bit more of a kind of a I don't know, like a rover type of a player that doesn't fit an exact position. And that seems like what our coach likes best is to create mismatches. And you can move him around, blitz him from different places, play him in different coverages, and you can hide him and people don't know what's kind of look at. That's a great question because I'm excited to see what Kaiser White looks like in this. Because like Uchenna Nwosu, I'm excited for. I know how they're going to use him.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see him be used in that way. A Kaiser White, I'm excited to see how he can be used in different ways and how creative our coach can get.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Creativity, I think, is the main idea behind this coaching staff. So I think
we're
excited to see that.
It'll be fun to see, like, if all these guys start shining, like, what was our defense doing last year? Like, what was he thinking?
Well, being creative is taking chances. When you get creative, that's you're taking a chance. Like you're being aggressive. That's just not what we were. We didn't want to be creative because we didn't want to take a chance to be out of place and blow a big play.
Yeah.
We wanted to be conservative. And I don't care if you see what I'm doing. We're going to do it really at a really high level. When you get creative, you take chances and put guys out of position a little bit. But it can pay off big time. And so it's just a different philosophy.
We're moving into something
that I think
cooler.
Our coach is bringing in.
For sure.
Yeah. And more fun to watch, for sure.
Yes. Give it to me. All right. Thank you, Zach. And now we move on to Bobby Caldrone, who asked the question. Like Zoink Scoob, how big of a story do you think the Spanos family will become this offseason?
It's okay. Can I?
It's already blowing up.
I want to propose something to the Charger Chat podcast. I don't like this story so much because it is the opposite of what we try and do here. I feel like it's so negative and so shitty. You guys just want to leave this whole storyline
creating division
in this episode. Just leave it here and we don't talk about it again.
I mean, we won't talk about it unless we don't have to.
We don't have to do anything we don't want to do. And we don't have to talk about this anymore.
I'll tell you
I
what,
don't want
folks,
to talk about it because it sucks.
Let us know in the comments if you want us to keep talking about this drama mama off-season type business.
Drama.
Oh, they want to hear it because me and Kevin get after it.
I know. I don't want to fight with my brother anymore, but we're agreeing. Like we don't. I don't like Spanos, but I don't like how it's being handled. That's the thing.
Right.
And it's just going to keep getting worse. This is just the first layer. This is a 7-layer burrito, guys. We're going to get deeper and deeper, and it's going to be able to.
We're going to get into the 7-layer dip. Yeah,
there's a lot going on. Maybe some California burrito, some fries in there. That would taste good.
I'm not making any promises. I might bring it back up later.
We'll see. Hungry. Let's just see what. Yeah, dude.
We'll
stop talking about it.
My mouth is watering. California burrito.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I haven't looked at the rest of these questions, so if somebody else brings it up in these questions, hey, that's out of my control. But yeah, we'll see what happens this offseason because if something explosive happens, we can't not talk about.
We might have just lost. We might have just lost the shamelessly. We might just be a positive podcast now, guys.
Well, there's a difference between being shamelessly positive and delivering.
How about this? How about we find a way to spin whatever new news comes out in a fun way, a positive way? All right, that's it. We figured it out. That's it.
Right.
It's gonna get worse, and we're gonna have fun with it.
And it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get weird.
To answer your question, it's gonna get worse.
Way worse. Right.
Thank you, Bobby, for asking another great question. Now we move on to Skier, who asks the question. From Reddit. I live in Ireland and have no American affiliation. I'm not so sure on the dates, but I vaguely remember watching the 2010 Super Bowl. So there's a high chance that I'm coming up on a whole 10 years of Chargers fandom, and it's for the wildest reasons. Twitter was the hot new thing for people to tweet at the pundits in the studio, and they'd read them out when the US had an ad slot, but the UK didn't. I had thought about what team to pick to follow if I'm really going to give this a go. I only landed on the Chargers because a tweet that was read out was something like, Sunday Night Football. More like Chargers Night Football. Yeah. Apparently, they've shown a lot of games that season. By that point, it was solely Chargers and a team. I'll follow them. Here we are 10 years later with a Chargers tattoo to boot. Wild ride. Fuck the Raiders.
Awesome. Yeah, I love to hear it.
So good.
Love to hear the story, man. It's so fun to hear how people become fans. Like that's badass. That's so random. It's like the colors of jerseys.
Random.
It's like I just love the randomness of it. Keep coming, bring all the random. And I hope you enjoyed that awesome Irish accent.
And that
come to our game against the Vikings, please, because we have to show up.
Let's go. We need it.
Please, yes.
And teach us all how to drink and party beforehand properly, please.
properly, please.
Properly.
Thank you to Skier. And now we go on to Alan, who asks a question. Hey, guys. Have you guys heard the Bolted podcast? If so, what do you guys think about it? Last episode heard from a few former Chargers players. It was very interesting. Okay. Love you. Bye.
I have you guys heard about this? I heard a little bit. I heard the trailer. So they have this trailer where they're basically going over like what happened. Like what Bolted is like Bolted for LA. So they're going over like the ins and outs of what happened. And honestly, I've been like,
it's more about the history of what's led
what
to
happened,
the Chargers
what led
being
to
in
them
this situation.
Yeah, essentially. So I listened to the trailer. It sounded really good, very well produced. Like it, one day I'm probably gonna listen to it, but it's just like I have not been in a headspace where I like want to feel bad about the Chargers right now.
I'm reading the kind of explanation of it. It says it's a 6-part docu-series podcast.
Right.
Yeah, it's very cool.
that documents the history of the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah. Well, basically more so about the move.
The leaving.
The move to LA.
What happened, why it happened, and talk to players and Kevin Acey's on it. They talk to a lot of really cool people. I'm sure it's fascinating. I got to be in the right headspace, I think, to listen to the sad move story.
It's I feel like I'm not far enough removed from it yet. I know that time certainly has passed. That that it's just it's still. I don't know. I don't want to feel bad about it, like you said.
Yeah, Bolted podcast. I will listen to the whole thing once Dea Spanos gets her way.
There you go.
And the Spanos
and she flying back fist Rosé McVay.
The day of the sale of the team, I will listen to the whole thing with a smile on my face.
When she's got that check in her hand, she'll hop on her broomstick and fly off into the east. Then we will listen to the podcast.
Oh my God, that's too funny, Adam.
All right. Well, thank you for asking the question, Alan. We move on now to Mark. Not my cousin Mark. This is a different Mark. This is Mark M3D who asked the question. What pick would Sewell have to drop for you to trade up for him? How much would you give?
I thought about this a lot, actually.
I believe it.
I've thought about this for weeks now, and
if he gets up into that 8 to 9 range, and he's sitting there, and somebody is willing to trade with us, I'd be willing.
There minding his own business.
I'd be flopping our firsts, giving them our second, and then the next year is one of our third rounds. That's what I'd be willing to give up for Sewell. It's just, they're talking about he's just a generational potential tackle. And I like that.
Well, it's a great Cinderella story of getting him to play with Herbert again. The position that he's in is a need, and to get him to play again with Herbert would be amazing. That. Totally. I mean, you just don't hear about that happening ever in the NFL. So, I wouldn't hate that. Wouldn't hate moving up and making those kind of trades to get there. I don't know what our front office values them at. That's what's so frustrating to me. I don't know what their list, if Penei's even in their consideration. All this talk is just man, it would be great to get Penei. That's from us and all the fans, but it's from the front office perspective, are they dude, he's not even on our radar.
I don't think the conversation. I don't think he's gonna fall to 13. I think that
I know
Todd McShay.
There's no way.
Todd McShay did that draft, those picks, and I was just what are you talking about?
Todd McShay does a different mock every week, so he has to spice things up.
Okay, so that makes more sense. I was I would not bet the farm on that. But I think if he does, for some whatever reason, it gets quarterback, buffet.
If he makes it past Cincinnati, that's when
I think
my heart's going to skip a beat.
You need to get up ahead. You need to get up ahead of Cincinnati. I don't think he's going to go past Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I really don't.
That's 5. So it means you're going up to 4, which is Atlanta.
Yeah, that's hard.
And everyone picks Atlanta to take Q, so they're not going to trade back. The only way is, I think if he gets past Cincy at 5, then you try to make a push.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Cincinnati doesn't make a go for him, either goes for Rayshon or for a wide receiver, then that's when things are going to start getting really exciting. So you're saying there's a chance that this might happen.
I just don't. What we'd have to give up to go up that high?
A lot.
You'd
have to give up a lot. Are you willing to do that? I don't know. I don't think that the Chargers are. We've never done a blockbuster or something like that.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's making me sad.
The time to win is right now, though. That's the only thing that is on the back of the minds of the Chargers is we have Justin Herbert on this rookie contract. You have to win in the next 3-4 years. So is this the guy that's going to get you there? Now, I think that if the Rashawn Slater is still there with a couple picks to go, you could move up to get him at a much cheaper rate.
Yeah.
So I think that is more likely than moving up to 7 or 8 to get Penei.
Yeah. Or maybe people just lose their minds that day and he falls and falls and falls and falls.
Yeah, and I feel like he needs to like purposefully. Remember Laramie Tunsil when he had that like long mask on? Yeah, do that,
guys.
Penei.
Well,
Just do that on,
we have some.
just do it on purpose.
We've got some great Charger fans out there that have to have the their ability to do some visual
Photoshop
effects.
abilities of some kind.
Let's see what you got. Let's try and really help the organization. I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Just wreck his character enough that he falls to the Chargers and make sure the Chargers are aware, like, this is totally just a prank.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
That's kind of also the weird thing with Penei is like there was a tweet that came out. I don't remember who it was that said it, but it was one of the top guys talking about like draft prospects, saying that like he has like either maturity issues or something like that with Penei. And it was just like, what are you talking about?
I think it's the same thing. They just find things to cut these guys down. There's no real
same thing
reason
you've
for
heard
it.
with Justin Fields. It's just like things that nobody's talked about prior to the draft. Now all of a sudden it's like character questions are starting to come up for some of these guys. It's just like, where did that even come from? Like it's not been talked about until you said it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but fair to say that Charger fans would probably give up quite a bit to get Sewell. Charger front office might not feel the same way. So we'll have to wait for draft day to happen. But thank you, Mark, for reaching out. Next, we move on to one of my favorite names in this Ask Bolt Fam question, the Big Phil Bowski, who asked the question, what's the state of our strength and conditioning program?
Hopefully strong and conditioned.
And more conditioned. John Lott's definitely not there, so maybe it's newer, less old.
So fresh and so clean.
I'm gonna
less Lottie.
I'm gonna lean into maybe some hot yoga going on, maybe some like Pilates. There's some some younger, more modern exercises going to be attempted.
There's some LA stuff, some LA vibes in there.
I like it. All right, thank you, Big Phil. Now we move on to Mike Nava, who asked the question.
Since everyone is saying we draft O-line, wide receiver, or cornerback, give me your guys' preferred pick at each position.
I think it's Penei Sewell, Devante Smith, and Surtain or Samuel in cornerback.
I like the Horn. I like the Horn.
Or Horn.
I like Horn.
Or Horn. Yeah. Horn. Yeah.
I can get on board with those. I think those are like the the top guys, and then you can kind of back off that. But I think those land well for me.
As far as like possibilities that could land to us in those positions, like that, those seem like the big hopefuls.
Penei Slater, Devante Smith, Waddle, both Alabama guys.
Yeah.
And then the Horn, Surtain.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mike. Good to hear from you. Next, we move on to Archery, who asked the question, what round of the draft do you think we should pick a tight end or wide receiver? And which tight end or wide receiver would you realistically want at that pick?
I did tight end, I think, in the 3rd round, and it's that the Trimble kid from Notre Dame. I think that that makes sense to me. Like, then that's a good place. We have 2 3rd-round picks. So maybe the 2nd, or if you're really feeling like you want to jump up and grab them, somewhere in there. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I honestly don't see a huge need at wide receiver. It's gonna have to be someone that falls and is like a steal. So tight end Trimble is awesome.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Archery. Next, we move on to Tony Salazar, who asked the question.
Yes. What is y'all's favorite Chargers uniform? I'll go first. My favorite all-time uni is the AFL Powder Blue Anniversary Uni. Okay, love you, bye.
I like that Southern Bane. What is
y'all's down on the farm?
That's like the Snyder cut.
Yeah, we had this question I think a month ago, and I had described that exact jersey.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Powder Blue Anniversary.
Yeah.
I couldn't put into words what it was, but I just described it. But
AFL
that's it. That's
Powder
my
Blue.
favorite as well.
I'm loving the brand new yellow pants powder blue jersey.
Combo.
It just looks, whenever I see it, it looks so good.
Yeah, I love them all. I love the fact that they've introduced the Color Rush jerseys. Ever since they introduced
Color
the Color
Rush,
Rush,
pretty badass.
I've been all
Then
over that.
That royal blue is
royal blue. I love it. Thank you, Tony. Moving on now to Coach Lago. Hey, another coach who asked the question: would any one of you bet a limb on a Super Bowl during the Herbert era? If you read this one, Give us a Lloyd Dumb and Dumber voice.
I give a pinky. 100% give
what do I get in return?
A Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl.
But you put money on
I'm
it.
betting that they're gonna win the
Super
Super
Bowl. Yeah, so you
Bowl.
cut off a pinky if they don't. Like, what would you be willing to give up? How confident are you that we're gonna win a Super Bowl with Herbert?
Oof.
I guess what's the return? What am I gonna get it? We win a Super Bowl.
So you either lose a limb or you get to keep it because you were so confident that we would win a Super Bowl.
It's a bet. You're putting up a finger or an arm
for nothing.
Or
for being
Kyle
right,
going
essentially.
left field yet again and not playing along. Thanks for coming, folks.
What did you say? A pinky?
I'd give my pinky,
That's weak.
When I
That's
had
nothing.
tea, that pinky. I think it would be cooler if I didn't have the pinky up.
The whole thing, or like down to the knuckle.
I just look down at your nub. Like,
which knuckle?
Oh man, that season sucked.
Yeah.
This sucked. Just like a terrible reminder.
Man, fuck you, Justin Herbert.
Damn it, Herbert. It's just like the nub. You just get number 10 like on the nub, just as a reminder.
It's a tattoo.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for us to want to make any bets for our limbs without seeing Herbert play with this new coaching staff. I think give us a year, then we might be a little bit more confident on betting a limb of some kind.
Come ask me that question once Dea Spanos gets her way.
Oh my God.
And we'll get a better idea then. So
I'll give you a limb.
Write it down. All right. Thank you, Coach. Next, we move on to Boltaholic, who asked the question. Would you rather have the number 1 rated defense or number 1 rated offense? Yes. Snooty French waiter, please. Table 5.
Personally, because I would have more fun watching it, I want the number 1 offense because I'm an offensive guy.
Of course you do.
And what do you want, Kyle?
I want the number 1 rated defense.
Yeah, this is perfect. We're the yin and yang. The Duggan brothers are the offense and defense of the.
I've seen too many Trent Dilfers, Joe Flacco's win Super Bowls to know that a good defense can take you all the way.
I know, but I'd have so much more fun watching the number 1 offense. Like I told you, just shut your mouth, Kyle. Shut your mouth. Like I just told you, I just went back and watched our shitty season. I watch it every 3 days. I watch those highlights. Like that's how much joy it gives me. I don't go watch defensive highlights. That's not what I do.
That's because our defense wasn't good. If you watch sacks and interceptions and like,
I don't get as excited for a sack as I do for a bomb. Just saying.
To each
offense.
It's all good. All right, thanks.
Adam, you're
tie break.
No,
tie break.
Don't move on. You're the
you're not getting out of this.
I can't
hear
you.
See him trying to scurry
I'm going through
away.
a tunnel.
Say special teams. Say special teams.
Yeah, top rated special teams.
No.
I want perfect field goals and every punt to land on the 1 yard line.
Very well-rounded podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Boltaholic, for asking the great question. We move on to Z the King 1, who asked the question. Assuming Sewell and Slater are gone by 13, who would you rather have between Darrisaw, Waddle, or Fairley?
Darrisaw.
Yeah, Darrisaw. The difference is the Waddle and the Devante Smith. That's from the earlier question, and I think in this situation I would go Darrisaw.
Great.
And Farley's injury concerns are too scary to. We don't. Our team doesn't need to have that.
No, we don't.
We don't have wiggle room with injuries.
No, we really don't. All right, now we move on to Kanyeezy 96, who asked the question. Whoa, what's up, bro chachos? Officially in draft month. As I packed myself a juicy bowl last night, the thought hit me. What the f*** would we as Charger fans be right now had our team been incompetent and kept Lynn? Miserable is the only word, dude. Do y'all think we'd have fired any of the coordinators? Ugh. It makes me puke all over my surfboard just thinking about it. Anyways, much love, brothers. Keep surfing in ties. Yeah. Kanyeezy, you are one of my favorite Bolt fam question askers because you write a script. Like, you're not just asking questions. You give this
3 acts
character.
too. It's set up.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Oh my
Bless you,
God.
Kanyeezy. Thank
Bless
you for
you, man.
giving character. Yeah, what would happen if we kept
What
Lynn?
a fucking shit show. I don't like.
I think we would have been every other week for 25 minutes still, like we were last offseason.
Yeah, we'd given up on offseason podcast. Yeah. We would not be a weekly podcast if that would have happened. That's for sure. But honestly, wow.
Yeah.
What a question.
Like, would we have fired coordinators? Would we have fired?
I think Gus Bradley still would have been gone. But then again, how do you justify firing anyone if you don't fire Anthony Lynn?
Right.
Exactly.
So I really don't know. Special teams would have been different because we already kind of moved on from that mid season.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he leaves Gus Bradley. I don't know. That would have been a scary predicament to be in. And it's kind of like, if you keep Lynn, why would you fire anyone else? Kind of a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do that to yourself. Don't light that
don't
up.
Go back
don't
there.
light that up and go be doing that to yourself. That's just not fair to you, Kanye.
That's not fair to you and your surfboard.
Shamelessly positive.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kanye. Always great to hear from you. Now we move on to Chimney Crickets, who asked the question. I don't like pro days myself because it's not game film, but there's no doubt Sewell had a great pro day. With that, there's no way he drops to number 13, right? Do we climb up for Sewell or pray for Slater? Turn left up ahead. There you go. That's my best Siri.
We've covered it. The more we talk about it, like, I don't know if you can go up as far as you need to go. I'm really trying to soften this landing. I jumped and it's just all rocks, and I'm trying to lay out some pillows because this just, like, I don't think we're gonna get them. I think realistically, like what Kyle said, if you're gonna trade up, you could trade up for Slater. A couple picks and not be selling the house and remortgaging everything. So,
I mean, if we were to get either one, it would be amazing. But we'll just wait. We gotta wait. Everybody wait. Everybody calm down. Thank you, Chimney.
I don't want to wait.
I don't wanna.
3 weeks.
Now we move on to virtual offer 9716. I feel like this might be an ad. I don't know. Who asked the question?
Hey, yo. Why am I the only one that feels that our Chargers need a top-flight running back? Hey, yo, I am 100% sure of it. You know what I'm saying? We can't run out the clock without one.
I don't think we're definitely not a LaDainian Tomlinson type running team anymore. We're a committee team. That's just the way we're built right now. Whether our current coaching staff likes that or not, that's just we're a committee. You got Kelly, you got Jackson, and you got our starter.
Yeah,
Eckler. So you could pick somebody up. I don't think you're getting every down back. Like, that's just not the way we're built right now.
Right. Yeah, and we didn't really get a chance to see much of Eckler last year, just at the beginning and near the end. And when he did played
fantastic.
Played well. Yeah. He was a great service to the team
behind a really not good offensive line, one of the worst in the league. So I think
excited.
We always talk about Herbert and how much he's gonna get from this new offensive line, but you look at our running backs. Talk about running the clock down. If you have good guys up front, you're going to get those holes. You're going to get them up to the next level. They're going to make those blocks. They're going to turn around and cut those guys off, and they're going to get the yards. So I think the upgrading the offensive line is more important than bringing in like one of the top end running backs. I just don't see it necessary.
Well, and there are still options in free agency. It doesn't need to be addressed in the draft, right? And the longer they go, the cheaper they get.
Sure.
Right? Todd Gurley, Duke Johnson, TJ Yeldon, Deion Lewis, Chris Thompson, Jerick McKinnon, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson. These guys are still out there to be picked up. So I don't think in the draft it's going to be addressed super early. But there's a potential for a free agent pickup. We still have cap space sitting there waiting based on what happens in the draft.
Yep. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, virtual offer. Now we move on to Brian Rick, who asked the question.
If up to you, would you use a 6th or 7th on Borregales or McPherson, or are you good with Badge?
Drafting kickers is like, what is a good analogy, Kyle, of drafting a kicker? Like, you don't
buying a lottery ticket. It's just like it's a shot in the
honestly,
dark.
you
I don't
have
know,
just as much luck with an undrafted guy as you do with one of these,
or a guy sitting on his couch that's been not playing for 4 years.
It's the Volcano or Badge is fine with me. I'm not seeing a reason to draft a kicker.
Right. We don't need to make it a 33% possibility.
Yeah.
So
Too much.
But it's a great question. Thank you, Brian.
It's a good question. It did make me think for a second, for sure.
Solid.
I would love to upgrade that, and I would love if it was a guarantee
Right,
if we
a
drafted
for
a
sure
kicker, it
thing.
would be way better.
Like
but
the
there's
dude
just,
with the
I don't think there
glasses
is.
that went to
Blankenship.
the Colts.
The Colts, yeah.
That guy's
And he killed it.
Rad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's pretty special. But all right, now let's move on to Blue Blitz, who asked the question. What's the weakest unit on the team after O-line?
Ownership.
Oh, snap.
Kevin has changed.
Spicy.
No, I didn't. Kyle,
Something changed.
You were starting to pick a fight with me. I was just saying I didn't like how she was doing it. I didn't say I like the span eye. But yeah,
I think it's great. I couldn't think of a better answer. Let's leave it at that. Thank you. Thank you, Blue Blitz, for asking the great question. We move on to Titan 67, who asked the question. What would you like to see the remaining cap to be spent on? More special teams / depth guys or one veteran starter type? A lot of interesting options out there.
I think it's a mixture of both. I think you have enough money still to go get a guy on a 1-year deal with the COVID year, and still pick up some of those. I mean, we're paying these special teams guys $1.5 million, right? We're not breaking the bank to get them. So I think you could still get a couple of those depth guys, special teams guys, and get one solid starter, whether it be a corner or a tackle, or a running back, based on what happens in the draft. So I think you could still address any of those, or a pass rusher, Melvin Ingram. You could address those areas without having to pick one or the other. I think you could have a little bit of both.
I like that.
Maybe cake and eat it too.
That's right. Yeah, we've got the space. Why not? Spread it around. Get more. I like it. Thank you, Titan 67. Now we move on to Lavish Syndrome, who asked the question.
I usually see a lot of talk about either corner or left tackle in the first or second. I feel like our need for safety isn't talked about as much and really gets overshadowed. What do you think of potentially trading back in the first and taking Trevin Moehrig out of TCU?
I don't like it. I mean, I don't honestly just don't. I don't see that happen. I don't see the possibility of that happening. I think we have guys there that could. There's not the weakest position of our team right now. With guys, Derwin James obviously will cover up a lot of the weaknesses. But Nasir now moving into a new coaching staff that tends to be able to have a little bit more dynamic and make use of his talents. You have Alohi Gilman that's coming on a second year of his NFL career. The guy's just getting started with opportunity to make plays. And Tavon Campbell, I know he's touted as a corner, but he is kind of that tweener guy that I think could get some playing time at safety too. So I think, do we think we draft one? Yes. Do I think it's first, second round? No, I don't think so at all.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Lavish. We move on to Will Da Beast, who asked the question.
Putting aside the defense, do you think we have the offensive talent necessary for a championship team? In the combination of Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, etc., enough firepower to compete for a championship? Or do we need another standout player? Do we need another standout player or two? Okay, love you, bye.
I think we're poised to be really amazing. It's all about quarterback play to a certain extent. Like if Herbert does what he's capable of doing, what we have on the roster right now, I feel very confident that we can get it done.
Yeah.
I think it's better than I did last year with some of the things we're doing.
100%. I think it's quarterback and I think it's availability. If we can have the guys that we need to be available to play, I think that's going to make all the difference in the world.
100%.
And I'm not opposed to getting another standout player or two.
It doesn't hurt to have more, but
I wouldn't hate that.
We got a lot. I'm feeling it pretty good right now.
It would be icing on the cake, I think, at this point. So, thank you, Will Da Beast, for asking the question. Now we end this long ass Bolt fam with Ezzy Courier, who asked the question. Canadian here. Started watching football 2 years ago. My buddies in my fantasy league said I couldn't shit talk their teams until I chose one of my own.
After much deliberation, I chose the Chargers because I'm hoping they've got enough pieces to be a good team for a long time. But I'm also early enough that I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. My main questions are, have I just signed up for a lifetime of disappointment and misery? Who we drafting? Who's our whipping boy? Is Herbert gonna bring back the flow?
This might be the most unique reason to become a Charger fan I've heard so far. This is, you need it just for the sheer ability to shit talk your friends. Honestly, I love it. I love everything about it. If you did it 2 years ago, you were before Herbert came into his own. I feel it. Yeah, he's bringing the flow back. That's
he
what I
better.
heard.
Yeah, we need
Beautiful.
that flow.
Beautiful locks. But what do you think? Who's the whipping boy? Who are we drafting?
Who is our whipping boy right now? Pipkins, maybe?
Yeah. Pumpkins is doing it pretty hard right now.
Yeah. And who we drafting? God, we're praying for an O-line, but there's too much uncertainty being at pick number 13. There's too many people drafting in front of us to have any definitive, clear option right now. So
the final question is, has he signed up for a lifetime of disappointment and misery?
Well, it hasn't been sunshine and roses up to this point. I'll tell you that.
But we sure have had a lot of fun.
Track record.
Yeah. You will have fun. You'll be miserable while you're having fun.
That's right. You've come to the right podcast if you want to avoid any kind of disappointment and misery, because if we get
hope.
Yeah.
We have hope.
We have
There's
hope.
hope.
There's always hope, folks.
It's all we have is hope, guys.
All you need is hope. So thank you, Ezzy Courier, and thank you to all of you Boltfam people. My goodness,
Showing
there were
out this
so
episode.
many. My gosh,
New record 27. That's our new record, guys.
God.
Well, way to go!
Unbelievable.
And thanks for hanging out for 2 hours. We appreciate it.
Yeah, cheesy, crazy. It's 2 hours, and it's your own damn fault for making it 2 hours. So, as always, folks, thank you for joining us here at the Charger Chat podcast. Don't forget to bolt up, because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Once in a lifetime, there's an event that changes everything. One night only, pay-per-view event. Rosé McVay.
All right.
Versus Dea the Destroyer. Two will enter, one will leave.
I about threw up.
Only on pay-per-view.